welcome back to my channel. For those of you who do not know me, my name is Elena and I create new true crime videos every single week. And today I'm going to be deep diving in the homeowner of 34 Fairview, Brian Albert. I got a lot of requests on TikTok, and then I got a comment on YouTube of people saying they were disappointed in my video that I didn't use any court footage, and I figured, solid point. I studied the first Karen Read trial like it was a college course. So I know the ins and outs of what Karen Read went through and everything. With that being said, it's been very difficult to watch the second trial and watch the information come out differently than it did in the first trial, because in the first trial it was like boom, boom, boom. Here it is, here are the players, here are the inconsistencies. Whereas in the second trial, it's not as cut and dry, but we have not seen the defense yet. This is just the way Hank Brennan's, trying to put the case out there. There's a lot of, witnesses that might not be called again. But with that being said, I want to do a lot less talking on my end and a lot more showing you guys some of the mic drop moments in the Karen Read trial the first time around. What about Brian Albert am I going to show you guys that is so mind-blowing? Because people can't understand why some of the free Karen Read people are as passionate as they are. I will tell you guys, there's going to be talks of destroying cell phones, selling homes, rehoming 7-year-old dogs. There's a lot of things. So I am going to be breaking down each person in this case, Brian Albert specifically today, but Jen McCabe, Brian Higgins in separate YouTube videos. It's just too much for one video. So let's go ahead, let's dive right in to some court footage of Brian Albert being cross-examined by Alan Jackson and some of the moments that sealed the deal for me. If you guys are not already, please be sure to like, comment, subscribe, share this YouTube video with a friend, and let's go ahead and watch some of this crazy mic drop, mouth drop, jaw drop court footage.
You had never met before. Is that fair to say? Answer: no. I've never met her or seen her before. Period. Maybe once, but I don't think I've ever had a conversation with her. That was the entire quote, correct?
That's the entire quote, yes. That's not what you read earlier, but yes.
Well, what I read earlier was, I've never met or seen her before. Those words came out of your mouth, correct?
That's not my whole sentence, no.
You said, I've never met or seen her before, and then you said, maybe once, but I've never had a conversation with her, I don't think.
Right, that's my sentence.
Okay, so which is it, Mr. Albert? What were you saying? Were you saying you met her and had a conversation with her? Or were you saying, I've never met or seen her before? Which one of those two things was true?
I was saying that I've met her maybe once.
Actually, what you said was, I've never met her or seen her before. Your words, not my words, sir. Isn't that right?
No, because in the next sentence I say, I met her maybe once.
So you literally changed your testimony within your own testimony.
Objection.
No, can you answer that, Mr. Albert?
I believe I qualified my first sentence with a second sentence.
So what changed between the first sentence, where you indicated unequivocally, I've never met or seen her before, and the second sentence when you said, maybe once?
I'm not sure what I was thinking at the time that I said that.
Isn't it true, Mr. Albert, not only had you met Miss Read, but you had spent several hours with Karen Read and John O'Keefe 6 days before this incident? Isn't that true?
No.
In fact, on January 22nd, 2022, 6 days before January 28th, you socialized with Karen Read at the Hillside Bar for several hours, didn't you?
I was at the Hillside Bar the week prior, yes.
It was a Saturday night, correct?
Yes.
You were at the bar?
Yes.
There were several other folks at the bar, correct?
Several people, yes.
That included Chris Albert, your brother?
Yes.
A guy named Tim Daly?
Yes.
D-A-I-L-Y, is that right?
I'm not sure how to spell his last name.
Julie Albert was there?
Yes.
Jen McCabe was there?
Yes.
Matt McCabe was there?
Yes.
John O'Keefe was there?
Yes, he was.
And Karen Read was there, correct?
Yes, she was.
In fact, Your Honor, may I approach?
Yes.
I'd like you to take a look at a photograph. Just look at that to yourself for a second.
Well, I recognize the people within the photograph, and the background of the photograph looks like the hillside.
Does that appear to be a photograph that was taken on January 22nd, 2022?
Yes.
You were at the Hillside Bar?
Yes.
It's the same photograph that you're looking at in front of you?
Yes.
Describe who the people are going from left to right, sir.
Chris Albert, myself, John O'Keefe, and Tim Daly.
And this was on January 22nd, 2022, at about 11 p.m., correct?
Yes.
May I approach, Your Honor?
Yes.
Mr. Albert, who took the photo?
I don't know.
Karen Reed took the photo, didn't she?
I have no idea who took that photo.
Karen Reed took the photo, you're literally staring right at her, correct?
I don't know who took the photo.
Well, who else do you think it could have been?
Well, there were a lot of people there. You mentioned my sister, two sister-in-laws, a brother-in-law. I'm not sure.
Given the fact that you were never shown that photo, you've never seen that photo before today, correct?
I saw a photo that was sent to me in discovery or to my attorney that showed only, I believe, me and John in the picture.
Okay.
I think it's the same photo, only that's blown up to show everybody.
Got it. So, given what you now know about that night, and who was there, the fact that John is posing for a photo right next to you, who do you think took the photo, sir?
I have no idea who took the photo.
Could it have been Karen Reed?
Objection.
Sustained. Let's move along from
In
that, please.
fact, you were interacting with Karen Reed and John O'Keefe throughout that evening, correct?
I remember having conversations with John that evening. I don't necessarily remember speaking to Karen that evening.
Irrespective of whether or not you spoke to her, you obviously saw her there.
Yes.
You were there with her for a couple of hours.
Well, I wasn't there with her for a few hours. I was there with other people.
Okay. So without splitting hairs, she was there, correct?
Yes.
John was there.
Yes.
You were socializing with John.
Yes.
She was right next to him.
Sometimes, perhaps not, maybe all the times I was talking to him, no.
So you were socializing not exclusively with her,
Right.
but certainly socializing with her 6 days. On January 28th, 2022, you were still an active Boston police officer, correct?
Yes.
What was your job title in January 2022?
Sergeant Detective.
That means you not only respond to incidents, you actually conduct investigations as a detective, correct?
Yes.
Do you ever collect
Sir, you had an
shipment
iPhone.
solo cups?
With a number ending in 0888 back in January 2022, did you not?
Yes.
How many years did you have that iPhone as of January 28th, 2022?
Of several years, I'm not sure how many, but multiple years.
Mr. Albert, you were notified by the Commonwealth that on September 23rd, 2022, in the fall of 2022, a judge specifically ordered that you were to preserve that phone.
Objection, Your Honor.
Data, correct?
I'll see counsel at sidebar.
I'm going to read this for the record, Your Honor, if I may, with the court's permission.
Yes.
Did you receive a letter that said, in essence, not even in essence, it should be quoted as the following, quote, "You, Mr. Albert, are hereby notified that the defense in the case of Commonwealth versus Kieran Reed, Norfolk Superior Court, criminal case number 22-117, has filed a motion pursuant to Mass R. Crim P. 17 for the production of any cell phones that you used between January 28, 2022 and February 28, 2022, and or any data associated with those cell phones, period. The hearing on Ms. Reed's motion will be held on October 3, 2022 at 2 p.m. in courtroom 1 of the Norfolk Superior Court. You may be heard on the motion at that time. You are hereby placed on notice that these cell phones
It's a preservation
are subject
notice.
to pending litigation, and you must not alter, delete, destroy, or in any way manipulate any of these electronic data associated with the cell phones at issue. Period, end quote. Did you receive a notice from the Commonwealth with that language?
I don't remember receiving that document, no.
Were you told in any other capacity that you were not to get rid of or delete your cell phone? In other words, preserve your phone.
Subsequent to me upgrading my phone, I spoke with the DA's office. So after that, they told me via a phone call that that was the case.
So your testimony is you never received the notice that I just read, but you did talk to the DA and he told you to preserve, you were on notice that you were to preserve your phone.
He said after he upgraded.
I
Right,
know
well-
you want to say that, Mr. Albert. My question is, did you have the conversation with Mr. Lowry?
Yes.
Okay. When was that conversation, sir?
So I don't have the exact date of the conversation. I'm not sure.
Who did you talk to on the phone?
But he knows it was
exactly?
after?
Was Mr. Lowry alone or was it a conference call?
It was a conference call.
I just upgraded my phone last week conveniently. I don't have that phone anymore.
He said
No.
conveniently.
You didn't say that to Mr. Lowry?
No.
You just took the information that he gave you and hung up the phone and went about your business
Yes.
without notifying him that the very phone that he had just ordered you to preserve had just been destroyed days earlier.
No, the phone wasn't destroyed. I upgraded the phone.
The data was destroyed, sir. Correct?
I did not destroy any data on any phone.
Mr. Albert,
I upgraded my phone.
when you upgrade a phone, you know that the phone is set back to factory reset before your new phone is handed to you, correct?
Not always.
Happens every time.
No, it doesn't.
I don't know that.
You know that data is destroyed when you upgrade your phone, right?
I think some things are come over across contacts, things like that. So I don't know that for sure.
You can back up your data, sir.
Yeah, you can on the
phone
cloud.
Data is destroyed for all purposes. It's factory reset.
Not
Correct?
necessarily.
I don't know that.
How long have you had a phone? That's an iPhone.
Years.
How many times have you upgraded your iPhone?
Multiple times.
Every single time you upgraded. You know that the phone prior, the data is destroyed on it, correct?
Usually my contacts come over and my photos come over. So
that's a backup.
no, I don't think I have that on backup, but okay.
Irrespective, you didn't tell Mr. Lally that you had gotten rid of that phone.
They don't always
I was not
factory
asked
reset,
that
though,
and I
Alan.
didn't tell him.
A conversation that you had with Brian Higgins about your phone.
Oh, boy.
Quote, I don't recall saying I was going to get rid of my personal phone to Brian Higgins. I may have said that. You know, there's personal stuff on my phone.
What?
But I don't recall saying that to him. But I don't know. We had multiple conversations about things. You remember saying that under oath at another hearing?
Yes.
You
So you were-
literally admitted at that hearing there's personal, private data on that phone. Hence, you got rid of it, right?
No.
You certainly wouldn't allow some kid at the AT&T store to have your personal, private data.
Okay,
You
talk
have
AT&T
power.
all you want.
No, I assume he doesn't have it
Why would you assume that?
because he took the phone and has it.
Who took the
And what do you
phone?
think happens to
AT&T?
the data on the phone, sir? Let's just use common sense. What do you honestly think happens to the data on the phone when you turn it in and upgrade your phone?
I'm sure that the data is not there anymore. I'm sure.
It's destroyed, sir. Correct?
I don't know that for a fact. I know that some things are transferred back to the new phone.
You just said,
Wow.
you know, the data is not there.
Some data, I guess, isn't. Yes.
Sir, did you make any phone calls after you went to bed between the hours of 1:45 a.m. and 6:30 a.m.?
Yes.
Who did you call?
I inadvertently called Brian Higgins.
What time?
I don't recall the exact time. After 2.
2:22 and 35 seconds. Does that sound familiar?
Yes.
Did you speak to Brian Higgins at any point between 1:45 a.m. and 6:30 a.m. that night?
No.
You say you inadvertently called him at 2:22 in the morning.
Yes.
How did you inadvertently call him?
Well, I don't know because it was inadvertent.
So I have to explain that.
Well, it's kind of like a butt dial.
I don't like it about that. All right. How long have you used an iPhone?
A long time.
You owned a dog at the time, correct?
Yes.
The German Shepherd named Chloe.
Yes. Mix.
Described that dog as being not great with strangers. Isn't that true?
I did describe it that way, yes.
You testified that, quote, it started barking because it realized that people were downstairs, end quote, right?
Yes.
Chloe had a penchant for barking when she heard people, correct?
No, not necessarily.
She did that night.
Yeah, I think she wanted to use the bathroom.
Well, that's not what you said in your testimony. You said it started barking because it realized there were people downstairs, right?
Right.
So your German Shepherd, probably a decent guard dog, if she heard commotion and people, she would bark.
Objection.
Sustained. You can ask it differently.
Obviously, if Chloe hears commotion and people, she's apt to bark. That's the only question.
No.
So just that night, out of nowhere, first time ever, Chloe starts barking when people walk into the house.
No, it's not the first time ever, but she didn't bark often.
Okay, but she did bark that night, right?
Yes.
And the reason that you gave under oath for why she started barking was because there were people downstairs milling about, right?
Yes.
So in that instance, on January 29th, in the early morning hours, she was barking because she heard people.
Well, I can't say why she was barking.
Well, you did say why she was barking.
I let her out to use the bathroom, so I think that's probably why.
Except your testimony was it started barking because it realized there were people downstairs. Those are your words, Mr. Albert, not
Right.
mine.
Okay.
Do you stand by those?
Yes.
Okay. You ultimately did let Chloe out to go to the bathroom, correct?
Yes.
And then you allowed her to stay downstairs and you monitored her with the others who were in the house. Isn't that right?
Yes.
As a matter of fact, you testified in that state grand jury, the same April grand jury, April of 2022. So I let it go out to the bathroom. I let it back in. I kind of monitored it a little because we usually don't have people over the house and the dog's not great with strangers, period. So I was just making sure that the dog was all right with the people that were over, end quote, correct?
Yes.
So in fact, you did keep Chloe downstairs at least for a period of time with people that were over, right?
Yes, for a few minutes, I think.
Mr. Albert, after you learned that there were questions being raised about John's injuries and dog bites and scratches, in May of 2022, you got rid of that dog, did you not?
Objection.
Sustained. You can ask it differently.
At some point, your family got rid of Chloe.
Chloe was rehomed in May
And we can use
2023.
whatever words we want to. Rehomed, rehoused, whatever. But you got rid of her. She's no longer part of the Albert family, right?
Objection.
Allow that.
Right.
When did you get rid of her?
So Chloe was rehomed in, I believe, May
Of 2022.
of 2022.
Just months after the incident that we're discussing.
Well, after it was involved, she was involved in a dog fight with another dog out front.
Right, but that's also after the incident that
Yes.
we're discussing.
Yes, May.
That's a family pet that you had for 6 years or 7 years.
Approximately 6 or 7 years. Not
Your
sure.
explanation just now for having gotten rid of that dog is because it bit another dog and ultimately sent 2 women to the hospital, correct?
I believe 2 women went to the hospital. Yes.
But you took no action to get rid of Chloe until after you knew that serious questions were being raised about John O'Keefe's,
Objection.
correct?
Sustained.
At some point, you did realize there were questions being raised about John O'Keefe's injuries on his arm, correct?
Objection.
I'll allow that. Did you realize that?
I heard some talk about it, yes.
As of January of 2022, John O'Keefe had never been in your house, had he?
John O'Keefe was never in my house before or after that date.
Certainly, John O'Keefe, you would agree with me, he would count, were he in your house, he would count as a stranger to Chloe, wouldn't he? Never met her.
Hypothetically, yes.
I know there's multiple bedrooms. Are all the bedrooms on the top floor?
Yes.
Okay. How many bedrooms?
5.
As we're looking at your house, from the street looking at your house, are your bedroom windows, your and Nicole's bedroom windows, visible from the street?
Yes.
Which windows would they be?
If you were facing the house, they would be far left corner.
Upper or lower?
Upper.
Upper left corner.
Yes.
How many windows? 3 or 2 service that bedroom?
2.
Is that you and Nicole and Chloe, the German Shepherd, all slept through the entirety of that commotion on your front lawn?
Yes.
To be clear, you are a trained first responder.
Yes.
Yet during that entire event, after you were awakened, all that chaos on your front lawn, you never came out of your house to assist or investigate in any matter whatsoever, did you, Mr. Albert?
Once I was awakened?
Correct.
No.
Thank you guys so much for watching this video. Be sure to check out my other socials, Instagram, TikTok, and let me know what you think of the footage I put together here. Do you think there were mic drop moments? Do you think that I'm being biased? Do you think that it wasn't as jaw-dropping as I did? Comment down below. I want to hear all of it. I want to hear all the feedback. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you guys all soon again in my next video.